Welcome back to another installment of the Trains of ... And today we are taking a look at a completely forgotten, totally underrated movie from my childhood and probably a lot of yours too, that somehow has some of the most realistic train scenes you'll find in any animated kids movie. Let's take a trip down memory lane for the 2000s kids and check out the Trains of Everyone's Hero. For those of you who have never seen this movie, I highly recommend it, as it actually has a really sweet plot and is a nostalgic trip down memory lane for any 2000s kids like me. But we aren't here to talk about plot, we are here to look at some trains.
Holy cow!
Unlike my last video in this series covering Bolt and its single train scene, Everyone's Hero has a ton of train scenes. Being set in the early 1930s, this movie sees a lot of references to the streamlined steam era of American railroading and what many would consider the golden age of trains in the United States. 3 different locomotives appear throughout the movie, and we get our first glimpse of all of them in the train chase sequence towards the beginning of the movie. Let's start by looking at this brief cameo of a Southern Pacific GS4, known for the surviving locomotive in its class, number 4449, which was likely used to render this model. This is actually the only time this engine appears on screen in the whole movie. To the right, we have what looks like a Chicago and Northwestern E4 streamlined Hudson. Only 9 of these were built in real life and were made to haul the Chicago Northwestern's flagship 400 passenger route. However, before these engines were even delivered, the CNW opted to order EMD F and E units for this train instead, reducing the E4's role to more secondary operations. 7 of the 9 locomotives were scrapped in the mid-50s, however, 2 were kept at the Escanaba yards to be used as heaters to melt frozen ore. That didn't buy them too much time though, as the final 2 E4s were scrapped in 1961. The third engine in this scene is another celebrity in the train world, the New York Central J1 Hudson. The Hudson is an iconic class of steam engine to this day, being made famous by New York Central streamliners designed by Henry Dreyfuss. Recreations of this engine have appeared in everything from Thomas and Friends to a Van Halen album cover. However, the engine depicted in Everyone's Hero is not a streamlined version. Despite how famous these New York Central Hudsons are to this day, none survived into preservation. We get a better look at the Hudson later on in the movie. It does appear that the movie didn't obtain licensing for the New York Central name though, as the tender of this Hudson simply reads American Railway. The funny thing is though, that despite how accurate and well done the trains in this movie are rendered, the trains themselves aren't actually my favorite part about how railroads are depicted in this film. To me, the thing the animators absolutely nailed was all the other train-related stuff. The atmosphere in any of the train scenes is just flawless. I love all the details, like how in this shot there's a light fog coming off the rails, or how all the track we see has code line poles that follow it. All the furniture inside of the train depot and inside of the passenger cars looks great. I really like this truss bridge that appears in this scene, and of course we have to mention the signals. Like in most train scenes in movies, a lot of the trackside signals and signs and things like that are pretty meaningless and stupid, and don't really depict anything in real life. That's literally an exit sign from a highway, and someone try to explain to me what the heck this is. But there are a couple gems hidden throughout these scenes, like these very nice semaphore blades, and oh my goodness, look at this. They actually animated a Chesapeake and Ohio US&S cantilever signal, and even correctly lit it with the red aspect being on top. Unbelievable. Clearly someone on the team for Everyone's Hero at least casually liked trains, and hey, we appreciate them for giving us some railroad eye candy to look at here, and I appreciate you guys for looking at it with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.